The late afternoon sun rested gently over a small football field in a quiet town in the Philippines. The grass was uneven. Patches of brown dirt showed through in some places, and the goalposts had clearly seen better days. But to the boys running across that field, none of that mattered. For them, this place was special. It was where their dreams lived. Every evening after school, they gathered here to train. Some came straight from helping their parents sell snacks at roadside stalls. Others arrived still wearing their school uniforms before quickly changing into worn-out football jerseys. They laughed, they ran, they fell, and they stood back up again. Their coach, a patient man named Coach Ramon, blew his whistle loudly. "Faster passes! Don't hold the ball too long!" he shouted. The boys responded immediately. Among them was Diego, the smallest player on the team. He wasn't the strongest, and he wasn't the tallest, but his feet moved faster than anyone else's. Football was not just a hobby for Diego, it was his dream. He dreamed of playing in large stadiums one day, in front of thousands of fans. But right now, his stadium was this simple field, and he loved every second of it. Just as the boys began another passing drill, the sound of a car engine slowly approached the field. A black SUV rolled to a stop near the gate. The boys briefly glanced at it before continuing their training, but the man who stepped out of the vehicle would soon change everything. The tall man adjusted his sunglasses and scanned the field carefully. His name was Luis Herrera. In Spain, Luis was known as a respected soccer analyst. His opinions about football talent were watched by millions online. He had built a reputation for being brutally honest, sometimes too honest. If he believed a player lacked skill, he said it openly. If he believed a team was overrated, he said it without hesitation. Many people respected him. Many others feared his criticism. Luis had come to the Philippines to film a segment for a sports documentary about football culture around the world. But when he saw the small training field and the group of young players practicing there, something about the scene made him pause. He folded his arms and watched them train. At first, he simply observed. Then he shook his head. And then
Luis turned to the small camera crew standing beside him. "These are the players?" he asked with a skeptical smile. One assistant nodded. Luis chuckled softly. "In Spain, kids 10 years old play better football than this." Unfortunately, the comment was loud enough for the players to hear. The laughter on the field slowly faded. Some of the boys pretended not to notice. Others lowered their heads. But Diego stopped moving entirely. The words hit him harder than he expected. Football meant everything to him. Hearing someone laugh at their abilities felt like someone mocking their dreams. Coach Ramon approached Luis calmly. "Sir, these boys train very hard," the coach said politely. Luis shrugged. "Hard work doesn't always create talent," he replied. The tension on the field grew stronger. The camera crew sensed that something interesting was unfolding, and Luis suddenly had an idea. Luis walked closer to the players. "All right," he said confidently. "Let's make this interesting." The boys looked at him curiously. Luis pointed toward the goalpost. "Anyone here who believes they are good, try to score against me." The players exchanged nervous glances. Luis might not have been a professional footballer anymore, but his confidence made him look unbeatable. A few players stepped back quietly, but Diego stepped forward. "I'll try," he said. Luis looked down at him and laughed again. "You?" he said. "You look like the ball might carry you away." Some of the camera crew chuckled, but Diego remained calm. He picked up the ball and walked toward the penalty area. The field suddenly became silent. Even the wind seemed to pause. Diego carefully placed the ball on the grass. Luis stood in front of the goal casually, stretching his arms as if the challenge was nothing. "Go ahead," he said lazily. Diego stepped backward. His teammates watched nervously. He could feel everyone looking at him, but instead of fear, something else filled his chest: determination. He remembered waking up early every morning to practice with a ball made from rolled-up cloth when he was younger. He remembered people telling him football would never change his life, and he remembered promising himself that he would never stop trying. Diego took a deep breath. Then he ran forward. His foot struck the ball cleanly. The ball curved beautifully toward the corner of the goal. Luis jumped confidently to block it, but the ball slipped just past his fingertips and smashed into the net. The sound echoed across the field. For a moment, no one spoke. Luis slowly turned around, and the ball was resting inside the goal.
The boys exploded with excitement. They rushed toward Diego, cheering loudly. But Luis walked toward the goal quietly. He picked up the ball and examined it for a moment. Then he tossed it back. "Lucky shot," he said. Diego didn't argue. He simply nodded. Luis crossed his arms. "All right," he said. "Let's see if the rest of you can do the same." One by one, the players stepped forward, and something surprising started happening. Their shots were accurate, their passes were sharp, their coordination was impressive. Luis watched closely. The laughter he had earlier slowly disappeared. These boys were not amateurs, they were disciplined, and, more importantly, they played as a team. Coach Ramon smiled. "Why don't we play a short match?" he suggested. Luis hesitated, but pride pushed him to accept. "Fine," he said. Two small teams quickly formed. Luis joined one side, Diego led the other. The whistle blew. At first, Luis tried to control the match with his experience, but the Filipino players moved quickly and intelligently. They passed the ball constantly, they supported each other, they communicated without words. Luis soon found himself chasing the ball more than controlling it. Sweat began forming on his forehead. This game was not as easy as he expected. The score was tied. One final attack remained. Diego received the ball near the edge of the field. Luis rushed toward him quickly. He was determined not to be embarrassed again. But Diego remained calm. Instead of shooting, he passed the ball backward without looking. Another teammate sprinted forward. The defenders were caught off guard. The shot flew toward the corner of the goal. Luis dove with everything he had, but the ball slipped past him. Goal. The field erupted. Luis stood in the middle of the field, breathing heavily. The boys were cheering, laughing, and hugging each other. For a long moment, Luis said nothing. Then something unexpected happened. He started clapping, slowly, respectfully. The players looked surprised. Luis walked toward Diego. "You didn't just prove me wrong," he said. "You reminded me why people love football." Diego looked confused. Luis smiled. "Football isn't about where you come from. It's about heart." Luis turned toward the cameras. "I came here thinking talent only existed in famous football countries," he admitted. "But today I learned something important. These boys train without perfect fields. They play without expensive equipment, but they play with passion." The players listened quietly. Their smiles said everything. Before leaving, Luis gathered the team. He looked at Diego one last time. "Never stop believing in your dream," he said. "Sometimes the world just hasn't discovered you yet." That evening, the boys returned to their training, but something had changed. Their confidence was stronger. And when Luis later released his documentary, the title shocked viewers everywhere. Never underestimate Filipino football. And millions of people around the world finally saw what Luis had seen that day. Talent can grow anywhere. All it needs is passion, hard work, and belief. Moral lesson: never judge people by where they come from. Talent, passion, and greatness can rise from the most unexpected places.